These are the facilitator tips for the practical application section of the mindfulness module. So on number 2, when we're talking about how to practice meditation, essentially, if you want to actually, instead of just talking about it, if you want to actually show them what this is like, which I highly recommend, it doesn't take very long, and it's good to get their experiences of what that was like for them, because some people have never tried it before. You can just set a timer, ideally for 5 minutes if you've got the time for this exercise, but if you're short on time, just 3 minutes is fine. 1 minute is fine, because even that can be hard for a lot of people. So, but 3 minutes is a good sweet spot. It's helpful to have everyone process what that experience was like afterward and how long the time felt when they were trying to just observe, as well as how often their mind wandered. You'll probably find that people will say that those 3 minutes or 5 minutes felt like 15 minutes or much longer than they actually were, because we are often not being present with our mind. So, on number 3, when we're talking about the importance of like slowing down and removing ourselves from that time pressure and that state of chaos. A good way to model this for them is to focus on slowing down during your training and trusting that things will unfold as they should to help model this way of being to participants. So, creating a structure of how you're going to like space out your lessons based on the time that you have with the course is obviously helpful. I recommend doing that. We can have structure, right? But within that structure, we also need to pair it with flow, because not everything goes the way that we plan for it to go, and that's okay. We want to create an intuitive rhythm to the presentations and the activities and the discussion time as well. So try not to create a sense of being rushed as much as possible throughout this entire curriculum. And then over on the part about setting daily intentions, hopefully, so if you are a trained facilitator, then hopefully you have taken the full participant course as well and went through the workbook yourself and are implementing those things. So one of the things that you would hopefully be implementing is setting intentions for yourself during the day. So to give them an example of what this might look like to set intentions, you might share what your intentions were that you set for that day and how you've been redirecting yourself back to it throughout your day. And then if you have extra time and space, here are some ways you can implement some of the activities. Feel free to use your creativity to come up with your own as well, so you don't have to stick to these, but these are some ways in which you can do some experiential mindfulness practices with it. So you can have them mindfully make a craft using the affirmation that they came up with. We often do crafts in Walking in Balance, but we also talk a lot during this. So you might find one that, and you know, encourage them to actually be mindful as they're doing it and put good energy, good medicine into it. You can also take them on a mindful nature walk. You can have them practice being the observer while they're sitting on the ground outside and see how that experience is a little different than just sitting in their chair inside. If you are able to, you can lead an accessible yoga session where participants are encouraged to modify their movements in a way that meets their body's needs and feels good, instead of all trying to do the exact same movements. Invite them to use their creativity. And if you or somebody else, if there's no one there that can lead a yoga session, you can also find a time appropriate video from an inclusive and accessible yoga teacher practitioner on YouTube, such as my girl, Yoga with Adrienne. She's got sessions that are like 5 minutes. So if that's all you got, she's got a video for you. You can also eat a meal together and put on some pleasurable music in the background and encourage them to just focus on the experience of eating without distractions. You can also, if you don't have time for that, you can also just ask them to practice this during their food break separately and then come back and discuss that experience later on.